have new provinces that were issuing this kind of money. In 1995. And in 1992, I have a proof of the presence of issuance in Catamarca, because we can see the way. But in 1995, you see Cordoba, Formosa, all the provinces were coming into the issuance. And till 1999, Corin province again. Example of in Tucumán. Thus, 11 provinces had already started to issue bonds in convertible peso before the country falling down in depression in 1998. You see? So there is a proof that it was not strictly associated to the crisis of the convertibility. It's more structural phenomenon. But you have a fourth wave in 1999. As the crisis started, a new type of crisis started, and it's five more, possible seven, because there are always discussions, provinces, new provinces. But what was important for the construction of the idea that it was emergency monies only, it's because the province of Buenos Aires, 5 minutes, okay. So you can see, at the end we have 16, perhaps 18 provinces out of 24 in the federation who were issuing money at the end in the period 2001-2003. Now, I pass, successes and failures, but not time. I pass on the reasons of this kind of issues. I have no time to. It's a graph about the rate of inflation, distinguishing different periods. And I come to some general principles concerning federalism and what I call monetary federalism. Federalism can be defined as a way to shape a political order on the basis of a hierarchy of values rather than, as in a unitary state, a hierarchy of powers, with concentration of all the power at the same time. The federal layer of government is not greater in power than the federated governments, for it does not have the monopoly of political competences. In the domains where there are sovereign federated entities, are superior in power to the federal government. So, you understand this? If we look at the power and political competencies of the different layers, we cannot define a sovereign state in power in a federation. That's why some legal scientists think that federation, there is no sovereignty in a federation. But I think it's not true, in fact, because the federal layer, however, is in charge of the competencies which are greater in value, because they found the federation as a whole, in fact. These two competencies that are ensuring the internal peace between member states and acting for them as their deputy in the external world. And without these competencies, there is no federation. You have only a lot of nation state or provincial state which are independent. Therefore, in the federal polity, we have an overlapping hierarchy of powers and no sovereign power as such, in the strict meaning of the word. Sovereignty in a federation is the attribute of an authority separated from any executive power and whose decisions are enforceable only federal and federative powers recognize it as a sovereign authority to whom they accept to be submitted. If not, the federation is on the way toward dissolution. That's important. So, what is sovereign in a federation? It is the level of authority and not the level of power. Well, I can go for in this distinction, but what is important to see? This authority is a third party placed in position of sovereignty above any political power, either federal or federative. It usually takes the material and institutional forms of a special judicial power, but it can be a popular referendum, also, as in Switzerland, which has the necessary authority, but not the power to enforce, to settle on conflicts of power between or within the two layers of government. One more, I pass on this. But this general structure of federalism makes sense for the monetary order, as soon as we distinguish between the propriety of money to be a system and unit of account, and on the other side, to be a set of means of payment. Decreeing the system and unit of account, maintaining its uniqueness, defines the federal layer of a monetary system. Two minutes. As stated notably by Keynes, for example, these competencies are of greater authoritative value than the powers to issue or circulate means of payments. So, and the power to issue means of payment can be shared, decentralized, even dissented, and in order to allow basic transactions, they are usually distributed to different agents and organizations acting at different territorial scales and with different purposes. Currencies circulate in multiple spheres of transaction, not only in commercial circuit of commerce, but also users networks, etc., etc. We know that very well here. And they take different material forms, are not a priori all-purpose money, and most often have to be earmarked to be accepted in transaction. So, what seems to me important is to see that money has a federal intrinsic structure. If we admit that it's a system of account on one side, if the community must be unified and united, the system of account, the unit of account, must be a common good for all the federated entities, for all the means of payments. So, to maintain a community, you can have a plurality of means of payment, but you need that all these means of payment are expressed in the unit of account common to the whole set of means of payments. So that's the board. I can finish on that if you want, but what is interesting of the provincial monies and what is in Argentina and what is important for the present crisis of the euro, is to think in another way the crisis of the euro, is that all the provincial issuance of local bonds, money, provincial money, were at par with the euro, with the peso, with the national. They were declared in the legal tender, in the legal unit of accounts, in the common unit of account. And they were maintained at par. They were a failure where they could not maintain this parity, this unicity with the federal unit of account. That's very important. So they were, as we say, tax anticipation scripts, but at the provincial level, they were backed by fiscal, by tax at the local level, by provincial taxes, but they were backed too by a convertibility device at par with the federal unit of account, with the federal currency. Okay? What is important to think another way for the euro is perhaps we can, okay, zero, I finished on this. We have two main strategies to exit from the euro crisis. We maintain the euro as a unique, not a common, but as a unique currency for the whole zone, European Union, restricted to the zone, Eurozone. And the other way, and we exchange taxes, fiscal, all the context of this monetary regime, unique monetary regime. The other way is to throw the euro and coming back to national monies with devaluation in order to re-equilibrate the trades between the European Union. But here we can see that we can have both. We can have the euro, we maintain the euro, but it's no more a unique money, unique currency, it's a common currency. And the main function of the euro is to be a common unit of accounts for all the all the means of payment which would be issued at the national level by the member states. But the condition to have that is to maintain the parity between the euro drag, the euro escudo, the euro lira, to maintain the parity. And well, I cannot go further in the implication of that. But so like this, we can have, we can reduce public debt, and we can reduce external deficit. But by the way, how we will reduce external deficit? Not by accelerating competition and exportation, but by reducing importation. Okay, I finished that.
Thank you very much. I will just allow for a few questions before questions or comments. Yeah, Leon.
Just maybe you said, I'm sorry for coming late, then if people say Patagones, do they only refer to the ones from Buenos Aires, or is that the generic term for all the notes you presented?
I did not understand.
What is the overall name for these notes that you presented? Is Patagones the
No.
name?
So each provinces had its proper name for the in the northwest there were two names because there were a project of regional union. It was a BOCAD, and it was named BOCAD or Público. In Cordoba, it was Secacor. There were a lot of names.
And what's the general name for these kinds of things?
They called them bonos de cancelación de deuda, bonos, quasi-monedas, all sorts of names. Bonos, quasi-monedas.
Yeah, Mauricio?
I have to ask one thing about the main function of the money. There are many functions, but maybe only one is dominant. This is the political problem, one of the main problems. And usually you forget one important function that we count money. That is the function of the growth. This money serves mainly for measure the growing of the economic system in competition. And this function is dominant now, and is keeping away far the store value function, maybe also the external. And how you can see this problem for federalism?
Yes, and yes, it's this kind of issuance of provincial monies these issuance are made in function of the needs at the local level, right? To pay public agents, to public professors or doctors or things like that, and to develop the local economy. Right? Because this money cannot circulate at the federal level. They can only circulate at the local level. And they are quite, I had no time to develop on the BOCAD, which is very interesting because I have the data for all the period. But you can see that they are supported strongly by the local federation of entrepreneurs, as well as by trade unions. So it's very important because you have local projects, and they are very adapted to local development, in fact.
Sorry, I mean, we have to manage time.
Yes, I understand.
One more, and then...
All programs ceased to exist per 2003. Currently, none are operational. Is that true?
Sometimes you have new emission, local emission, but there are re-emergence.
Why did they cease?
Why did they cease? Because the central government, they saw that there were 18 provincial monies, and it was a political question. Right? And it was a condition in the negotiation with the IMF, condition put by the IMF to come back to centralization and a unique national money.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much for the. Okay, now we'll give the floor to Mario Kramer.